Led Zeppelin. I don't think anyone will argue with the fact that they're one of the biggest names in rock music. They were outstanding to audiences who first heard them in the 70s and made songs that people still find innovative today. Although vocalist Robert Plant is regarded as a rock god to current fans, guitarist Jimmy Page was hesitant to hire him for his new band in '68. He thought there had to be something wrong with him since he was such a great singer, but still unknown. As time would tell, Plant was only at an early stage in his career, an untapped potential. And so in August of '68, Page, Plant, Jones, and Bonham played together for the first time in a room below a record store in London.
So Jimmy Page was the one who wrote the lyrics for the first album, and it wasn't until the second Led Zeppelin album that he managed to convince Robert Plant to join in on contributing lyrics as well. Plant was very quick to create the directions for his way of writing though. He would usually go in the direction of sexuality, writing about women, and on the other hand you had him writing about mythology, spirituality. Specifically, he would write about Welsh and Nordic mythology. So in this video I thought we would talk about Led Zeppelin's musicianship and Robert Plant's fascination with Nordic mythology.
Immigrant Song is the opening track of their third album, Led Zeppelin 3. Looking to change their sound from previous albums, they decided to create something that would immediately stand out and make an impact. The song was written when the band was touring Bath, Germany, and Iceland. The lyrics were specifically written with Reykjavik, the capital of Iceland, in mind, and their experiences while being there, referencing the ice and snow, midnight sun, and hot springs. The lyrics also mention the hammer of the gods, a reference to the Nordic god Thor, and Valhalla, the Nordic version of Christianity's heaven.
I'm not looking for glory or wealth. I'm just buying that Stairway to Heaven Jesus sang of.
That was Led Zeppelin.
Get back to your bong, hippie.
Although people are quick to denounce Led Zeppelin's importance in metal compared to other bands like Black Sabbath, there are certain parts of the lyrics that were adopted by metal bands later on. These Viking themes that Plant sometimes include in his lyrics can be found in newer bands such as Manowar, Iron Maiden, and Mastodon, just to mention a few. Now, Page provides some superb guitar riffs here. The guitar is tuned to E standard. You first of all play the 2nd fret of the E string, which is an F sharp, G flat. And then you go over to the 4th fret of the D string, which again is an F sharp, G flat, just an octave above. Then what he does is he plays an A major open chord, and then he goes over to E major, the open E major chord. It would sound like this. And then he goes back again by using those two same chords, but the opposite way. So we play that for quite a few bars, and then Page moves over to the chorus, and what he does here is he once again uses the A major open chord. So he has more of an active strumming pattern here. And then he moves over to a B power chord. And then he moves over to a C power chord.
The catchy and forward marching music combined with the theme of exploration and warfare makes this song the perfect backdrop for action-packed movies, which is why Immigrant Song has been used in Thor, Ragnarok, School of Rock, and Shrek the Third. Why? Why? Now, Now, if we go back in time again to 1969, we find Led Zeppelin 2. The seventh song on this album, Ramble On, is another song with mythological themes. It comes off as a song about love and the need to move on from one relationship to another, a quest to find the perfect woman. But it's during the third verse that things get a little bit more interesting. Here, he goes on to riff on characters from Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. I think this reference is whimsical and humoristic at the same time. Plant had only read the books at the time, obviously, because the movies weren't made until the 2000s. I don't know about you, but the characters from the movies are what's cemented in my mind at least. And so when Plant gives us this personal story and blends it with the Tolkien universe, I can't help but imagine it as a deleted scene or a spin-off movie that should have never existed.
Not listening. Not listening.
Now, when I decided to cover this song, I only took a small portion of the song. I specifically decided to do the second chorus and onwards, and I think there's a little bit of a difference between the first and the second chorus, how they're played on the guitar. Just keep in mind this is the second chorus. You start with an E major power chord that goes down to a D major power chord and then back again to the E. So it would sound like this. In between those, you have this very satisfying melody that uses the sliding technique like this. So it's kind of an embellishment of those two chords, the E and the D. If you listen closely to the song, you'll hear that there's an acoustic guitar in the chorus, not just in the verses, but in the chorus, it's panned to the far right. And there are just some amazing melodies in this song that makes me think that this is the more melodically satisfying song out of the three that I picked.
Now, fast forward 3 years and we find Houses of the Holy, Zeppelin's fifth album. It was yet another chart topper for them, and some of the songs would be recognized as classics in years to come, such as The Song Remains the Same and No Quarter. The latter is the song that David Bennett here is playing on the keyboard. In this 7-minute behemoth of a song, John Paul Jones delivers an hypnotic mellotron intro that goes on for almost a minute. Page throws some suspended chords into the song to add some tension. Bonham delivers a simple beat with the occasional ghost notes on the snare. And before you know it, you're in the chorus, which is the definition of groovy and gnarly.
Once again, Plant makes a reference to Thor. He talks about these men wearing steel armor and how they're kind of walking side by side with death. The lyrics paint this very gloomy and nerve-wracking mental picture. Perhaps he's telling a story about Vikings going to war.
The music perfectly captures this dramatic and mystical theme of the lyrics and makes it even stronger. But how? Let's use Jonesy's keyboard intro as an example.
The keyboard part for Led Zeppelin's No Quarter is played on an electric piano, most likely a Fender Rhodes, which is being passed through a flanger effect, an effect usually reserved for electric guitar. The bulk of the keyboard part itself is using the C-sharp Dorian scale. Dorian is a variation of the minor scale, with the only difference being that the 6th degree has been raised. The raised 6th degree of Dorian gives it a slightly brighter sound than the typical natural minor scale, which lends a mystical, curious tonality to the song. Historically, the Dorian mode was most often found in folk music and older church music like Gregorian chant. So for many listeners, the Dorian sound has an ancient, sort of timeless quality to it. For almost the entire first minute of No Quarter, the music is sticking to one droning chord, C-sharp minor. The lack of a chord progression creates a calm, meditative, stationary sound, as the harmony is not moving anywhere, which in turn means that when we do finally then switch to another chord about a minute into the piece, this A major chord, it's a particularly dramatic moment in the music.
I just want to take a moment here to thank David Bennett and Pietro Valente for helping me produce this video. Chances are you may have seen David Bennett's videos before. He's a prolific YouTuber who breaks down the music of popular artists. He creates excellent videos where he goes in depth on the music theory, making it understandable and easy to follow, especially if you want to learn the songs on piano or guitar. He recently uploaded an interesting video on how Led Zeppelin ripped off other musicians, so yeah, it's a natural progression from this video. Make sure you click the link on the top right corner or in the description to check it out. Now, last but not least, Pietro Valente is a super talented and underrated drummer. He's a professional jazz drummer with a YouTube channel that deserves way more attention. He does reaction videos of other drummers, covers of popular songs, amongst other things. Recently, for example, he created a video covering Rush's Tom Sawyer, but he played it in the style of other drummers, such as John Bonham, Danny Carey, and Mike Portnoy. Make sure you check it out by clicking the link in the corner or in the description below. Hey, at the end here, I just want to mention quickly my 14-day guitar challenge. One thing that I regret about my guitar practice from the past 8 years is that I didn't have anyone to play with for a while. I did have a band at some point, but we broke up, and because of this, I never learned much, and I often played the same things over and over again. Now, if you want to stop this, I highly recommend you join my 14-day guitar challenge over on Patreon. Patreon is a membership site where creators like myself can get paid, and I can offer you even more content. Now, we've run a few of these challenges at this point already, and people really seem to love them.
Just want to show some support for Lee's Guitar Challenge. I joined last month. I've been playing for about 4 years. I thought it was fantastic.
Doing Lee's challenge was a big help. 10 out of 10 would recommend.
In this challenge, we're going to learn a song called Oblivion by Mastodon. It's a challenging song, so I advise you to join only if you have some experience already. Now, once you become a member on Patreon, you'll get access to our private Discord server where you post your daily progress. The group members and I will help you out so you never feel bored or stuck with practice ever again. We have weekly one-on-one calls and group calls that make you excited to pick up the guitar. You'll also get daily lessons on how to turn your practice from a boring drill into a fun challenge. At the time when I published this video, there's only 4 spots available, and the sign up closes on the 30th of July at midnight. But if you sign up before July 25th, you'll get an early bird discount, so I highly recommend you do that. If you're ready to have more fun practicing without feeling like you don't have anyone there to help you along the way, click the link below and sign up now. Thank you.